Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a report from AEON Biopharma, and let me tell you, it's a bit of a roller coaster. We're talking stock splits, share increases, and a whole lot of corporate shuffling. It's like watching a magician trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat, but instead of a rabbit, it's hopefully more value for shareholders. But will they succeed? This report is dated February 24, 2025, so it's fairly recent. That means the information is fresh and gives us a pretty good snapshot of what's happening right now with AEON. Let's get started. Alright, let's talk about something called material modification of rights of security holders. Sounds scary, right? It basically means the company is changing the rules of the game for its shareholders. It is when the company alters the power of the shareholders with some kind of financial maneuver. In this instance, the company has approved the increase in authorized shares and a reverse stock split. What that means for you, the shareholder, is coming up. This section goes into detail about changes to the company's official paperwork, specifically their certificate of incorporation. AEON Biopharma had a special meeting where shareholders got to vote on some important proposals. Think of it like a school election, but instead of deciding on pizza day, they're deciding the future of the company. The company held a special meeting of stockholders on February 24, 2025. In that meeting, the shareholders voted to amend the company's third amended and restated certificate of incorporation, as amended, to increase the number of authorized shares of the company's common stock. Basically, they're creating more shares of stock, from 500 million to over 1 billion, as described in the company's proxy statement filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission on January 23, 2025. The amendment to the Certificate of Incorporation will be filed with the Secretary of State of the State of Delaware on February 25, 2025. It will then become effective, meaning official, on that date. Now, things get a little more interesting. The company's stockholders also approved a proposal to allow the board of directors, the group of people who run the company, to do what's called a reverse stock split. Following the special meeting, the board approved the filing of a certificate of amendment to the Certificate of Incorporation to effect a reverse stock split at a final split ratio of 1:72. The company intends to file the charter amendment with the Secretary of State of the State of Delaware to effect the reverse stock split on February 25, 2025, to become effective at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time on February 26, 2025. A reverse stock split is when a company reduces the number of its outstanding shares. Imagine you have 72 slices of pizza and the company decides to combine them into one giant slice. Each 72 pre-split shares of common stock outstanding will automatically combine into one new share of common stock. It is important to know the number of outstanding shares of common stock will be reduced from approximately 79.9 million shares to approximately 1.1 million shares. The reverse stock split will affect all of the company's stockholders uniformly and will not affect any stockholders' percentage ownership interests in the company. That means the percentage of the company you own stays the same, but the number of shares you hold will decrease. After the reverse stock split, the trading symbol for the common stock will continue to be AEON. The new CUSIP number, a unique identifier for the stock, for the common stock following the reverse stock split will be 791X209. This section gets into the specifics of how the shareholders voted at the special meeting. It's like reading the election results. The final results for each proposal voted on by the stockholders at the special meeting, as certified by the company's Inspector of Elections, are set forth below. First, the shareholders approved the increase of authorized shares of common stock. 31,264,128 people voted for, 4,878,082 people voted against, and 43,064 people abstained. That means most shareholders were in favor of creating more shares. Second, the shareholders granted discretionary authority to our board of directors to amend our certificate of incorporation to combine outstanding shares of our common stock into a lesser number of outstanding shares, or a reverse stock split at a specific ratio within a range of 1:5 to a maximum of a 1:150, 1:150, with the exact ratio to be determined by our board of directors in its sole discretion. In Roman 2, effect the reverse stock split, if at all, within 1 year of the date the proposal is approved by stockholders. 32,605,697 people voted for, 3,560,400 people voted against, and 19,177 people abstained. Again, most shareholders were on board. Third, the stockholders of the company authorized, for purposes of complying with NYSE American Listing Rule 711.05, the issuance of warrants, shares of common stock underlying the warrants and certain provisions of the warrants, issued in connection with an offering and sale of securities of the company that was consummated on January 7, 2025. 20,088,258 voted for, 1,255,440 voted against, and 8,262,706 abstained. Fourth, the stockholders of the company approved one or more adjournments of the special meeting, if necessary or appropriate, to solicit additional proxies in favor of the authorized share increase proposal, reverse stock split proposal, or the issuance proposal if there are not sufficient votes at the special meeting to approve and adopt the reverse stock split proposal, the authorized share increase proposal, or the issuance proposal. 31,394,646 people voted for, 4,769,915 voted against, and 20,713 people abstained. This section talks about a press release the company put out about the reverse stock split. It's basically a way for the company to communicate with the public about what's going on. In addition, on February 24, 2025, the company issued a press release relating to the reverse stock split described in this current report on Form 8-K. This is important to the company because it's a direct line of communication with the world. So, what does all of this mean? Well, AEON Biopharma is making some big moves. Increasing the number of authorized shares gives them more flexibility to raise money in the future. The reverse stock split is often done to increase the stock price, which can make the company more attractive to investors and help them meet listing requirements for stock exchanges. Basically, they're trying to make their stock look more valuable. However, there are some potential downsides. Reverse stock splits can sometimes be seen as a sign that a company is struggling and they don't fundamentally change the value of the company. It's like cutting a pizza into fewer, bigger slices. Each slice may look more substantial, but you still have the same amount of pizza. Also, the value of a company does not equal the price of a stock, and the two should not be considered the same thing when evaluating its merit. Now let's talk about the good and the bad. A strength is that the company is being proactive. It is taking steps to manage its stock price and raise capital if needed. A weakness, however, is that all of these moves can create uncertainty for investors. Will the stock price actually go up? Will the company be able to successfully raise more money? The risks are that the reverse stock split could backfire if investors react negatively. Ultimately, AEON Biopharma is trying to reposition itself for future growth. The success of these moves will depend on how well they execute their plans and how the market responds. It's something we'll need to keep an eye on. Thanks for tuning in to Corporate Decoder. If you found this breakdown helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel and lets me know what topics you want me to decode next. Until then, stay informed and keep decoding.